Hello, my name is Ben Bac Sierra, and today we are adding to our Barrio Bushido Lecture series, a novel by yours truly. Today we will cover Chapter 2, which is entitled El Lobo, or the Wolf. If you'd like to find out more about me, Ben Bac Sierra, or the novel, Barrio Bushido, please visit the YouTube channel, Barrio Bushido TV. If you'd like to look at my specific text, I have many fiction, a lot of fiction writing, non-fiction writing, poetry as well. Visit todobolodown.wordpress.com. Okay, we will begin El Lobo. Now we'll review a little bit first. Remember that we covered last time the chapter Losing Balance, which begins the novel. And what happened at the beginning is that we have three homeboys, Lobo, Toro, and Santo. And they are homeboys from the barrio, a fictional barrio called Barrio Montaña. And they have come together to reminisce. They haven't been in each other's company in a year. They're talking about old street war stories. And runts, younger homies, they come up on the streets, and Lobo, Toro, and Santo believe that they have to school, educate these young homies to the way of the streets. Santo thinks that the best way to do this is by committing an act of violence on innocent people in the park. That is what Toro, Santo, and Lobo end up doing. And because of this, they are guilt-ridden, and the magical aspect of this is that they fall from the grace of God. They do not get caught by the police, but they feel wrenched inside of themselves because of this terrible thing that they have done. Lobo, here now in his chapter 2, he is narrating from the first person. And the chapter starts out by Lobo defending himself. And we might ask here, why is it that Lobo is defending himself? Lobo has anticipated what the audience thinks of him. He believes that the audience would think that he is the worst garbage on earth. This is his reaction to the audience's ideas about him, their prejudices about him. So this is found on page 14 of the book, Lobo, in first person. What was I supposed to do? Serve some penance? Forget all of the beautiful bloody bullshit and trade in my khakis and all-stars for a nice, neat, holy hood? Get the fuck out of here. I could never trade in my heart. I could never trade in my soul. So you ask me, no, you tell me, as if you knew what time it was. What's wrong with you? Don't you have any remorse? Don't you know what you stand for? You're oppressing your own people and giving them all black eyes. You are merely a worthless pawn in a game of shame. Now note here that Lobo has, he thinks, correctly identified the way most people think about homies like him. Street people. Street people. Here is his reaction to that mindset. So let me ask you, no, let me tell you, whose pawn are you? Is your game nicer? Is everyone a friendly, fool? Is it safer? Does nobody die? Is it better, more civilized, less animalistic? Are the bathrooms prettier? Now, note here that Lobo is addressing the audience and asking them to consider what makes their world better than his. That last line from him, are the bathrooms prettier? Is it that this imagined audience think they're better than Lobo because, I'll be a bit vulgar here, is it that their shit doesn't stink the same? Lobo was checking them. Lobo was checking them. Later on page 15, Lobo says this: the truth is that if I was going to lose my mind somewhere, I was going to lose it anywhere. What threads would have prevented that? What would you have had me don? Would you have suited and booted me in Brooks Brothers' finest, had me speak with a smile, and fooled yourself into believing that you put a poor down and out vato in paradise? Or would you have actually rather proved prejudices, delivered justice, and seen me mad dog you, caged up in penitentiary blues? Let's do a bit of textual analysis regarding Lobo's assertions here and his questions to this imagined audience. He's imagining what the solution for his predicament should be. And he's thinking, that there's this popular notion in popular culture, in the media, that if one changes one's dress, one's physical appearance, they can then be acculturated into normal society, right? And so Lobo says, he's thinking, what would it be that the audience would like of him? Would they like him to wear the most conservative suit, that is a Brooks Brothers suit, and speak with a smile? And that would solve all his problems. That would solve the racism, the economic despair, the lack of education. Would that do it for him? Or, he addresses the imagined audience, would they even want that for him, to put on a Brooks Brothers suit? Or would they rather really just have the easier way out, according to Lobo, and just cage him up in jail, in a prison, and have him wear penitentiary blues, that is prison garb. Now, of course, it's no longer prison denim blues. It's, in California anyway, orange, right? So this is what Lobo is questioning to the audience, and he's really questioning what is justice. What is justice? We see more of Lobo's questioning about this on page 16. On page 16, he once again is predicting what the audience would think about him. So, I'm an ignorant fucker, eh? Yes, I am. Ignorant of quitting when all says I should. If I would have listened to bright ideas, I wouldn't have been a cholo chasing loco dreams like a dog chasing his tail. I would have done great in school, graduated magna cum laude, and been a gangster doing civilized business in honestly filthy places. All right, let's pause for a moment to consider the way that Lobo is reacting to this. Lobo believes that if he would have taken hold of what society, a normal society would have wanted of him, he would have gone to school and done the best he could have in education. But the point that Lobo wants to make here is that even if he would have done that, that would not have taken away the corruption that is embedded not just in the homeboy lifestyle, but the corruption embedded in all of humanity. Note what Lobo says. Lobo is thinking that he would have simply have been a gangster. He would have remained a gangster, doing business in honestly filthy places. Honestly filthy places, according to Lobo, these are places like, the corporate world, where there is environmental destruction that goes on, where there's war that goes on, where there's bribery that goes on, where there is employment, obstacles that take place for people who are disadvantaged, right? And Lobo thinks that the entire world is corrupt. He believes that there's hypocrisy everywhere. And so this, for Lobo anyway, justifies who he is. This, to Lobo, justifies how he could be such a homeboy. All right? Okay, now I want to continue a little bit more here about what it is that Lobo thinks humanity does care about, but that it is an illusion as well. He summarizes that at one point in his life, on pages 16 and 17, at one point in his life, he had gotten his teeth busted out by the police. And he valued his teeth. For a wolf, the teeth are extremely important because that's how you eat, right? And so Lobo went and he stuck up or robbed a couple of liquor stores, he says. And after he robbed those places, he saved a little bit of the money after partying, and he went and bought a fake tooth. He says, he describes, he puts this fake tooth in his mouth, and something else happens. I'll read to you from pages 16 and 17. And then one day, months later, you're so damn drunk, you swallow the fake tooth. You got so you can smile like a proper wolf. The tooth that cost you the change from 2 liquor store holdups. And when you wake up all hungover, you actually appreciate it. You risked your life and could have gotten busted and got locked up for a dime. Or you could have gotten really sick with it and blasted your way to kingdom come and been a flower-loving corpse. So, after you take your shit, you get down on your hands and knees and you dig into the holy toilet bowl because you realize you don't give a fuck about too much, but you give a fuck about a little piece of ivory that gives you the illusion of humanity. Let's understand this point. What is it that the world values? The world doesn't want to value outright gangsters. That's just not the way the world works. Lobo realizes that what the world values is illusion, appearances, right? Like the Brooks Brothers suit, okay? But here, even more so, even more essential, to what it means to be normal in our society, according to Lobo, is that you can smile. Smile broadly. And he sticks, even though he has swallowed the fake tooth and it should be lost, he does not want to surrender his so-called humanity, right? And note here, if he doesn't have that tooth, he will not be able to be the wolf. He will not be able to trick people and to fool people and to eat as well, right? Okay? And so he digs in his own feces, extracts the tooth, and afterwards he's able to put the tooth back in and he could smile again and fool humanity with this illusion. How are you doing? I'm fine. Okay, all right, everyone. So here we have this character, Lobo. We're introduced to him. We see his rebuttals. Lobo now, getting into the story of Barrio Bushido, he is really the catapult for the rest of the novel. His dilemma, his chosen dilemma, is going to push the story forward. At this point, I'm going to summarize a lot of what's in the first chapter, okay? In this first chapter, after we see a little bit of Lobo's philosophy, what we have is we have an introduction to his girlfriend, Sheila, okay? And Sheila turns out to be the one person in Lobo's life whom he loves. She seems to be the only person he has ever loved. He's sleeping with her. He gets a call earlier from a character named Kwai Chung. So I'll start writing some of this stuff here. Sheila is Lobo's girlfriend, and she's gonna sleep while Lobo goes out to take care of something for his benefactor, a character named Kwai. Lobo's, Kwai Chung Kane is not Lobo's boss, really. He is someone who has hired Lobo. So I guess the best way to describe Kwai and Lobo's relationship is that Kwai Chung is Lobo's, like as I said earlier, benefactor. And this means that, I'll explain now how exactly they became intertwined with each other. Kwai Chung, and you would find this out, of course, in this chapter and in many other chapters as well, because you would have a lot of backstory here. But for the purposes of this video, I want to explain their relationship all in a linear manner. Kwai Chung is an undocumented Chinese immigrant, brought here when he was, I believe, 8 or 9 years old. And Kwai Chung does not have the ability to pay for college or to even go to college. Remember that this is the year 1993. I'm sorry, this is the year 1991. This is the year 1991 in the novel. And so what Kwai has done, Kwai Chung, he is running bets for the Chinese triads, the Chinese organized crime factions. But he's not making enough money. So Kwai Chung gets this idea. He's a very entrepreneurial fellow. He gets this idea of hiring Lobo, because Lobo is feared in the Barrio Montaña. Kwai Chung gets this idea of hiring Lobo so that Lobo can be his muscle. And Kwai Chung is going to provide gambling services for the barrio. Okay, all right? Kwai Chung is doing this outside of the triad's permission. So it's risky, but he believes this is the best way to make quick money so that he can get out of the gambling business. Kwai Chung does not gamble himself. He does not drink. He wants to go to school. His dream is the international American dream, to graduate from Harvard and become a successful business person. So he's willing to take these risks. Lobo is his muscle. Lobo usually has nothing to do but walk around with Kwai Chung. On this one occasion, in 1991, Kwai Chung has called him and told him that someone is giving him trouble. Lobo is not even told what exactly he needs to do. But in Lobo's mind, he believes he is supposed to kill this individual. I'll explain a bit why, and I'll give you the exact text for why Lobo thinks this, okay? This is on page 23 towards the bottom. Now Kwai told me that this guy needed some talking to or whatever. He didn't tell me, but I knew I had to take his ticket. All right, taking a ticket in this context means that Lobo thinks he needs to kill this person. Lobo thinks he needs to kill this person because this person must not want to pay. He doesn't even know who this person is. The only thing he knows about this person is that this person is Chinese. And he thinks that this person does not want to pay because Latino street people are cowards. This is 6 months after the beating of the innocent family at the park. And it got some media attention. Lobo feels shameful and guilty about this. Lobo is also paranoid that someone doesn't want to give him respect. And so he wants to make an example out of this unknown Chinese person who doesn't supposedly want to pay his debt. Lobo's plan? He wants to be the vicious wolf. He will simply walk to that person's house, knock on that person's door that night, and strangle that person at his doorstep when that person answers. Lobo believes he can do this. Lobo's pretty wily. He's a street kid. He knows how to box. He knows how to fight. And he is also stereotyped Chinese people as being frail and wearing glasses. That is the description of Kwai Chung in the novel. And so that's what he thinks he's going to go do. He's going to go easily murder this person. And in that way, he'll get some kind of bold reputation back. All right. Before he can do that, he has a day, because he's not going to take this plan out until the nighttime occurs. He has a day. That day he spends reminiscing about his life and the past 6 months that have passed. He's met Sheila in those 6 months, and he has had the time of his life with the love of his life, his soulmate. I now read to you how Lobo and Sheila met. This is on page 27. Okay? He sees her and he knows he has to get her. He's very attracted to her. She's described as, I'll read to you a bit from page 26. I examined her walking down my street with her face painted up like a beautiful Bozo the Clown. Her hair a tall brick wall of hairspray. And she was shaking her sexy thick ass like the Playboy Playmate of the Year. This is attractive to Lobo, and he thinks he has to be extremely bold with her. So on the top of page 27, one shot, one kill. So I prowl up, smile, and says, "What's up, gorgeous? You are a wildflower, blooming in front of my eyes. I've been waiting to pick you all my life, and now you're here, and it's not a dream. I'm in your face as a man that ain't got too much on the materialistic side. Only got a good time when you're with me. I want to fall in love with you, tonight and forever." Huh? She snarled, as if I could give her some nasty disease. Are you serious or just retarded? Let's analyze a bit of this exchange here. Now, Lobo believes that he can be bold and really fake with Sheila. Sheila immediately sees through him. And, of course, questions his sincerity and questions his intelligence. Lobo knows that he has one opportunity to capture her. And so, once she has questioned him in this manner, he tells her this. He responds in this way. Check out. Let's go get us a couple of 40s, sit down at Bajo Park, and talk about life. Let's go kick back, listen to some live-ass homeboy soul oldies, and let's laugh about the act I'm going to play for you and the Academy Award movie star you're going to be just for me. She unfolded her arms. We'll do this much for each other, and we'll give each other illusions of how we wish we were. We'll laugh at our insecurities, and we'll love each other for less than a second, yet pretend it's forever. And with this, they begin some positive dialogue, and they lead together. And this begins their romantic relationship. Now, what was the difference between the pickup lines and what happened when Lobo responded to Sheila? One thing is, he was honest with the futility of everything. He was honest about the acts they were going to play with each other. And more specifically, note this. Lobo says, we'll love each other for less than a second, yet pretend it's forever. Note that when people say that they're going to love each other forever, they're really only talking about their lifetime. And how long is a lifetime? Let's say, and at this time they're 20 years old. So maybe they have a good 50 years left. But 50 years, we know, is not forever. Lobo correctly identifies, we'll love each other for less than a second. Because note here, this is a concept of time that Lobo was understanding, that is honest to Sheila. Less than a second. 50 years is like less than a second in comparison to the totality of time, the totality of forever. 50 years, not even that. If we talk about the trillions of years of this universe and the trillions of infinities in forever, right? We don't even understand what that really means. Lobo identifies the kind of play that we make, this farce and facade that we create with time. This is attractive to Sheila, this honesty and this criticism of time as well. Lobo, a keen individual. At this point, we are going to pause, all right? And I will give you part 2 of El Lobo very soon. Thank you.